This week is our Thanksgiving Hacienda at Home. We just released our 2020 Nouveau, which is the perfect Thanksgiving holiday wine. And this year's been a little untraditional, so we're gonna change up our Thanksgiving menu and cook a porchetta in the wood-burning oven and make a little bread salad to go with that. We'll toss some bread and all the pork drippings and fat, toast them off and make a nice bright salad with chicories from the garden, and roast off some squash and onions and make a nice little salsa verde. So first thing we're gonna do is season up our porchetta. Porchetta is made from the middle of a pig, so this is the loin and the belly still attached but totally boned out. So first we're going to score the skin actually, and this will help with the fat rendering and help make nice cracklings, crispy skin. So I'm gonna grab a butchery knife and score the skin 2 inches apart in long lines. Now we'll flip it over and season it first with salt. Porchetta comes from the center of Italy, around Rome. And it's really good. You kind of want to do a big chunk because it's really good leftovers. So salt and then black pepper. And ideally you season it 1 to 3 days ahead of time. And then take it, pull it out to rest about 2 hours before you plan on cooking it so it can temper. I'm gonna set this aside and we can prep the rest of the seasoning. First, we're gonna peel and pound some garlic until we have a nice little paste and rub that all into all the nooks and crannies. Okay, now we can smear this garlic in here. Now we're gonna get some lemon zest in here. So I'll probably zest 2 or 3 lemons. Now we'll pick and chop some rosemary. Okay, I'm gonna sprinkle this rosemary in here and then do the same with some fennel fronds. Now we'll just add some chili flake. I'm gonna pound some fennel seeds. Now we'll get this fennel in here and then tie her up. And now you really want to kind of like press it and massage into all those spaces. Get the seasoning in there. It smells so good already. Okay, now we're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna start with the loin. Start rolling on that end, and then roll it down around the belly. Whew. Okay, now I'm gonna just tie this up as tight as possible. So now that this beauty is all wrapped, we are going to roast it on a rack over a tray. I have this big cast iron here. So I'm gonna throw that on there, and then we're gonna drizzle the outside with olive oil and put some salt on there. And this will help get a nice crispy skin. Looks pretty good. Here we go. So our oven is at about 425 right now. We want to cook it at that temperature for about 30 minutes and then try to get our oven to drop down to 325 and then let it ride there for 3 to 4 hours. We'll just keep checking on it. And with the wood burning fire, we'll keep rotating it and moving it all around. You of course can do this in a normal oven and you can kind of just set it in there and forget about it for a while. Now we can prep our onions. I'm using shallots here. So I'm just gonna peel them and wedge them, and we're gonna roast them with some thyme and red wine vinegar and do them agrodolce-esque. So we'll put all of these shallots into a baking dish, kind of crowded in here. And then we can distribute some thyme, just sprinkled over the top casually. Some salt, pepper, Now we'll drizzle this with some olive oil and sprinkle some red wine vinegar. And this will help with the acidity. And then a little bit of water. And now we'll cover this with foil and cook it for like 30 minutes so that way it steams and it gets fully tender, and then remove the foil and the top will kind of caramelize and crisp up a little bit. And maybe we check back in on our porchetta. It's probably been about 30 minutes. And then we can get this in the oven. Let's check on this big thing. Woo! Smells so good. I mean, come on. See, we're getting some nice color and a little sizzle action. So now our oven's down to like 325, and this is where it'll be for probably another 2 hours. And we can throw our onions in. Now we're gonna pepper squash. These are beautiful baby butternuts. I'm just gonna peel them with a peeler. Trim off the top here and then cut these in half. Just scoop out these seeds. And these are so cute and little, I might just quarter them. I'm just gonna toss these with some salt and olive oil and get them on a sheet tray. I'm positioning these cut side down because I like when these cut sides get really caramelized and delicious. So these we'll throw in the oven, but we can wait because the porchetta still has probably an hour and a half or so. So we'll set those aside. Okay, now we can make our salsa verde that we'll put on our vegetables and also on the pork. We'll start by dicing a shallot and letting it macerate with some red wine vinegar and salt. We'll let that macerate while we pick and chop our parsley. I'm going to chop up a little sage to add to this. A little sage and oregano. We can add all these herbs to our shallots. I'm adding a clove of garlic. And now a bunch of olive oil and some salt. These are looking good. They're totally tender, and I'm gonna probably pull these out right now, and then we'll throw them in later when the porchetta's resting to crisp them up and warm them and really caramelize them. We can throw in the squash here. Now we can start working on our bread salad / stuffing. When the pork's done, we'll take it out of the pan and then throw this bread in that cast iron and toss it in all that fat and juice and toast them up. Okay, so here are our croutons. We'll wait until the porchetta's done and toast those up. I'm also going to macerate some shallot with some sherry vinegar. We're also going to add some pine nuts and currants. And the currants I'm going to rehydrate a little bit with some verjus. So they'll have some sweetness but a little bit of brightness and be, nice and soft. So we can get those soaking. These pine nuts are toasted. And then we have some chicories from the garden. So it'll be like chicories, pine nuts, currants, the toasted bread, and a nice sherry vinaigrette. Okay, let's check on our squash. It's looking nice and caramelized and brown. So we can set these aside. Okay, let's check on our porchetta. It's been about 3.5 hours. Oh! Look at that. Okay, we're looking for 140 here. I think we're right on. It'll keep rising as it rests. Nice. Ooh, it looks so good. Okay, now I'm gonna try to carefully take this out. Oh my God. Okay, now I'm gonna get this out of here and then throw our croutons in that fat and get that in the oven. Meanwhile, let's toast off, like caramelize up these onions. Okay, so our pork head is resting. Here's all this pork fat. I poured a little bit off because there was quite a bit, but we're gonna throw our croutons in here. They're already sizzling. It smells amazing. This in. Okay, the sun's setting, so we'll go back down to the hacienda and we can plate all this. But in the meantime, we gotta have a little sneaky crunchy bit. Oh my God, so good. What more do you want? Okay, the table is set, so now we can plate our meal. We'll start with our bread salad. I have all these beautiful croutons here that are nice and crispy and porky. Get those in our bowl. And then I'm gonna tear up some of these chicories and get them in there. Now we can add our pine nuts and our soaked currants that have been soaked in verjus and softened a little bit. Now we'll season this up with a little bit of salt. And then our shalloty sherry vinaigrette. I love chicories. So they're in our bowl. And scatter all those delicious pine nuts and currants on top. Yum! Okay, now we can plate our squash and onions. Here's all our beautiful squash that we roasted in the wood oven. Now we'll tuck in some of these onions that got nice and golden. Agrodolce onions are truly one of the most delicious things. Now some of this salsa verde. I'm gonna sprinkle a little flaky salt on here. Actually, maybe I'll taste a little guy. Can't resist, they're so cute. Oh yeah. Perfect. Okay, now let's grab the porchetta. Ooh. The main event. Look at this monster. It looks so good. I'm so excited. I'm just gonna remove the string as I go because I want to keep it intact, you know? So let's see first. I mean, look at that! We'll have another little nibble because we must. I mean, like, wow. I can't even. It is just so good. It's so fatty and succulent and juicy. And all those spices, like on the edge, where it gets all charred. Oh my god. Ooh. It's so juicy down there. Ooh. Oh my god, look at that gelatinous deliciousness. It's a thick slice. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, now let's just throw this whole thing on the plate. I think the edge is my favorite, where it's all charred and full of spices. Okay, now we can bring this to the table. She's beautiful.